So normally, like I say, we used to do this a few years ago in person. We'd have a room full of people and we would go through this presentation. Of course, now it is all virtual. So if you want to put in the chat box, this is kind of what we used to do is, where do you live? What kind of work are you looking for? And oftentimes we can watch the chat and we can't share the chat after the workshop. So if you make a connection on the workshop, be sure you connect while we're, before 11 o'clock. Because there is a lot of networking that can start right now if you're kind of new to your job search. So I get really excited when people say, oh, let's connect afterwards. I might have a good lead for you. So keep that going. And just know that at all Career Force locations, we are here to help you however we can. And I don't know, I'm doing this with Sheila. As you can see, she's writing some notes to you folks. We'll just go ahead and introduce ourselves while you're doing that. So I have been with Career Force since 2009. I got laid off from a job and came here, and it was a matter of crossing the right threshold at the right time, and I was hired on to be a dislocated worker counselor. Now, it always doesn't work that easily, but it was the point is getting out there and letting people know that you're looking for work and what your skills are, as you'll find out in some of these other workshops or you've already heard. These are my skills. This is what I can do. I would be a great candidate for you. So letting people know that you're looking for work is huge. So you're networking now. You network every time you go to the grocery store or church or out to watch a ball game. Be sure that folks know what you're up to. So I've been here since 2009, and I'm in Duluth, and happy to be here with you today. So Sheila, you want to hop on and say hi?
Good morning, everybody. Some participants might get tired of seeing me because I've been on here quite a bit the last couple of weeks. But welcome to the career planning workshop. I am going to monitor the chat box today. Everyone's microphones have been muted, so we will communicate through the chat box. If you haven't located the chat, it is the speech bubble or call out button in the bottom right of your screen. So please enter your comments and questions for Rhonda in the chat. We will stop along the way and ask Rhonda some questions. If I know it's a topic she'll be talking about later in the presentation, I'll just hold off on asking that question until we get to that section. If you want all participants to see your question or comment, you can send it to everyone. Or if you want to send a private message to Rhonda and myself, you can send it to all panelists. And with this workshop, we will send you a copy of the PowerPoint presentation, any support materials Rhonda talks about, and a recording of the workshop. And that will come out in an email hopefully tomorrow. So you should get that if you'd like to review any of the information. And then we also have closed captioning feature on the presentation today. That is in the bottom left of your screen. It has a little CC in the rectangular speech bubble. So feel free to use closed captioning if you would like. And once again, you're going to get all these materials, so you can kind of concentrate on what Rhonda's saying. You don't have to try to write everything down. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. And Sheila's actually sitting up in International Falls helping me out. So I like working with her, and some folks are saying, good to see you, Sheila. She's a great facilitator as well. So thinking about getting started, and this series is called Creative Job Search. And when you think about it, employers have to be very creative, obviously, because COVID is still out there. They're still having to think about keeping people safe, keeping people wanting to work from home, people coming in for services, people coming back to the office. Do we have enough hand sanitizer? Do we have enough masks? What do we need to do now if someone reports that they're sick? So they're having to be very creative, as well as we job seekers need to be creative to let them know that we are the first, the best candidate for your position. So we all need to be creative. Everything is changing on a daily basis, but just know that this job loss is difficult. It is something that we go through. So what we can do at CareerForce is help you with the tools that you need to get through this, help you with the resume, help you with, doing some mock interviewing, letting you know about job fairs in the area, and share, if you sign up for email blasts with your local CareerForce, maybe will let you know about job postings or other events. But really want you to connect with us and just know that we are here for you. And whatever your game plan is, if you need to switch gears and get into a different industry, tweak your industry, credentials a little bit to make yourself more marketable, be sure that you connect with us so that you're getting all of the services that we can provide. And this might be a really great time to do some evaluation and see maybe it is time to start that business you've always wanted to start. If it's something that's going to be, financially beneficial for you, or if you're older and you don't want to go back to the job that you were doing for the last couple of years of work, you just want to do woodworking and work at craft fairs. I don't know, I'm just kind of throwing ideas out there, but it's a good time to think about what's going on. But obviously we know that job loss is difficult, and you're going to see this roller coaster. I mean, they say that this is equivalent to, losing a loved one or, getting a divorce or something like that. It's a huge emotional roller coaster, obviously, like the slide shows. You're going to have great days. You're going to have not so great days. You're going to have days that are just sort of flat, nothing really going on. And don't blame yourself for things being slow. I'm on the telephone all the time with folks, and they're just saying that things are just taking such a long time to try and get a response from an employer, or get at least tell me, am I still in the running for this position? Because there's still a lot of folks applying for positions, but I want you to know that this is normal. These ups and downs are absolutely normal. And you're going to get to the end where you're going to find a good opening and land that next great opportunity. So put in the chat box maybe where you are in the emotional roller coaster, and maybe what you do to get yourself out of it. You obviously want to try and stay as positive as you can. Frustrated, yep, I hear that a lot. Trying to stay calm, that's good. You just need to identify where you are on this. So think about it. How am I feeling today? Do I have my crabby pants on because I haven't heard from the last 4 jobs I applied for? If you got your crabby pants on, maybe you don't want to go out and do that networking event. Or, switch gears and try and do whatever you can to try and get positive for the day. And being positive is like a superpower when you're job searching. You really want to make sure that you stay as positive as you can. So like I say, recognizing your feelings, giving yourself credit for being angry at COVID, for being angry at that employer because sales went down and now I lost my job. I mean, a lot of these things are business decisions. I mean, the things are wonky still. But just give yourself credit for the feelings that you're having. And then find a safe outlet. Who can you talk to that's going to also be positive? Maybe someone at your church, or maybe it's a coffee group that you get together with. Hopefully not the same people that got laid off at the same time as you, because that may turn into a not so positive conversation. So find people that you can talk to, and that's building your network as well. The more people that you talk to and get together with, even volunteering. I was talking with someone the other day, and they went to our rose garden in Duluth here, and what do they do? Deadhead the roses and turn them upside down or cover them with leaves or something, and ended up talking to 3 or 4 different people that turned out to be great people to have in her network. So even things like that can help. And like I said earlier, just making sure people know what you're looking for and sharing that information. Forgive COVID, forgive your former employer, do whatever you need to do to move on and get that that maybe a little bit of bitterness off your shoulder. Um, some folks say you should write a nasty letter to former employer, to COVID, to whomever, as get it all off your chest, write it down. Of course, you would never send the letter, the document. You could chew it up and spit it out. You could bury it. You could run it over with your car, whatever it takes, just to get that out of your system. Because you walk into a job interview and they say something that sparks your attitude, your not your attitude, but your feelings about the previous employer or things. You don't want that to come out. So you really have to get it off your chest. And then just accept the change. You know what? I can't work in a warehouse anymore because I can't do the lifting. They let us all go because sales are down. I got to look for something different. Recommend, maybe pharmacy tech, maybe surgical sterilization, maybe, Starbucks coffee, be a barista, whatever it is. But just be open to change. And you know what? Make the change or don't. Stay in that warehouse position that you had previously because it's what you know, it's what you want to do. There's opportunities. So, but it's really up to you what you want to do. And your attitude can really make a big difference. It's one choice you have to make every day, aside from, do I get out of bed? Do I get dressed? Do I shower? How am I going to feel today? Am I going to feel stronger, more energized, more positive, or not? And you can make that choice. Sometimes you have to have an attitude adjustment and talk yourself out of being negative, but it really is all about your attitude. And obviously a positive attitude beats a negative attitude every single time. You're just going to be a better, your best self, let's say, when you go out. And you really only have one opportunity to make that great first impression with folks, whether it's in your networking group or your coffee group or at an interview of some sort. So really being positive is huge. So do whatever you can to make that happen. And think about the things that have changed. I mean, maybe you didn't like that last job, and maybe it's going to be great because now you've got a clean slate. You can start fresh. You can talk to the dislocated worker counselors and get some short-term training so that you can get into something new. And just, think about things that have changed for the better or not for the better, and what do you need to do to maintain that and keep moving forward. So staying positive, talking with others, praying, support groups, job clubs, exercise. Sometimes if it really is taking a real toll on you, maybe some professional counseling. Don't be ashamed to reach out for help. Positive self-talk and affirmations. Some of you may remember a guy on Saturday Night Live that used to look into a mirror and say, "You're good enough, you're smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like you." Tell yourself every day you're a good person. Good things are going to happen to you. This wasn't my fault. COVID is not my fault. And just tell yourself, write it on your bathroom mirror or something, good things are going to happen to you. And just tell yourself that, because sometimes it's really easy to get into that self-blame or negative self-talk in your head. Never going to get a better job. Nobody's going to want to hire me, things like that. You got to get that out of your head. And just be positive. You're good people and good things will happen. And like I said, volunteering, that can really help with a positive attitude. And with the holidays coming up, there's probably going to be lots of opportunities for volunteering and helping the other folks in your neighborhood. So staying positive. So you've decided you need to do a little bit of career research, career assessment, and you're probably going to hear me say research 50 times today. It's very important that you know that what you're going to get into next is going to be a good move for you. So assessing yourself. On careerforcemn.com, there are self-assessments that can be taken. So you think about, what do I, in my gut, what do I really like to do? Do I like to install dishwashers and garbage disposals or not? Don't really like working with my hands. Do I like to direct plays? Do I like to, conduct an orchestra? Do I like to build kitchen cabinets? And it takes all of that information and sort of drills it down into a list of things that you are intrinsically interested in doing. There is also a skills assessment on careerforcemn.com that says, can you install garbage disposals? Can you direct plays? Can you build cabinets? So it takes your skills that you have today, and of course, if you've done this 15 or 20 years ago, your attitude, your interests, and your skills have changed over time. So take it again and just see what pops up. Some ideas might be new, some may be, you know what, this is what I used to do, this is what it says I should do, this is maybe what I should stick with. Whenever I take these things, it says I should be a farmer, because when I was a kid, I would spend summers on my grandpa's farm, and I loved it. And when I get, the time sucker Instagram in front of my face, and I see those little mini cows, my heart just melts. So farmer is in my DNA, I guess, but there aren't very many farmer jobs out there, so that's not going to work. But thinking about those things, what do you really want to do? Because to me, the greatest place is where your interests and your skills sort of collide, because you're going to want to do it and you've got the skills to do it. So it seems like a no-brainer that those are the areas you should focus on. So there's some other ones that you can look at, and I think that we'll see screenshots of a few of these coming up. And like Sheila said, you will get this information printed out for you in the packet. And you can check out these different sites. My Skills, My Future. I was a travel agent now. What sort of skills, what other jobs could use my travel agent skills? Things like that. There's obviously attention to detail. You don't want to send them to the wrong Portland or the wrong, the wrong Washington. They want to go to Washington, D.C. You didn't ask them which one, and they want to go to the state of Washington. Attention to detail is huge. The deeds site is interesting because it talks about jobs that are high in demand. It talks about jobs you can get maybe without having a four-year degree. What's in demand, what's on the upswing, and what's kind of going downhill. You don't want to get into one of those, or you'll be right back here watching these workshops again. So you want to get into a position that's going to be there for the long term, and you're going to like it. And so you can go onto these sites and you can research, what are these jobs like? So do your homework. These are the skills I have. These are the skills they need. What do I need to do to fill in those skills gaps? Do I need to talk to the dislocated worker folks or the adult WIOA or the youth folks to get some of that training so that you can get in there and make that move into that new occupation or not? Maybe you don't want to go to 9 months of schooling to get into a new position. You just don't want to take that kind of time. But check it out. I mean, think about it. There's lots of opportunities out there for folks. So here's the screen. Sorry, I have to look over here to read it. There's that Take an Employment Readiness Assessment. Compare the skills tool. Maybe that's the one where I used to do this. What else could I do with those skills? Interest assessment, skills assessment, occupations in long-term demand, all those sorts of things. It's just really great to get on there and just see what's another option for you, I guess is the point of that. Check it all out. So here's My Skills, My Future. This is enter a current or job, and then you can click on the Find My Career Matches and see what might be a good match for you with the skills that you have already from your previous employment. There's another one here. This is the State of Minnesota JobStat. We're government, so we really like our acronyms. So that stands for Job Skills Transfer Assessment Tool. And I think that I focus on business and financial opportunities. So you can drill down and see, what does an accountant do? What does an assessor do? Auditors, some of those different positions, and drill down and just see what's out there in that area. And then again, filling in that gap if you need it. I'm paging through all sorts of things that I have here. So you've done your career research stuff, and you're going to now just start getting your mind wrapped around, what do I need to do to get this started and get going on this. So you really want to be organized and managing your schedule. And I guess what we mean by that is we're still moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas and brothers and sisters and parents and all those things. So don't forget about that. You need to balance your job search with who you are as a person. Don't just get so wrapped up in it that you forget that and lose that piece. So just be sure that you balance your activities to stay healthy, to stay positive. All those things come to mind. And Sheila is going to go through the SMART goals with us on the next page. So we'll do that in just a moment. But keeping good records. Now you will get something, this thing is called a networking log. So you can keep track, you can make copies of this, go to the Career Force location and make copies of that to keep that information of who did I talk to, what did we talk about, who's going to call who when we need to reconnect again. The jobs that you've applied for, the people you've talked to in interviews, all those contacts that you have that you've met while you've been out volunteering and you've been at that ball game and all those sorts of things. Keeping a really great record of all of that information. Detailed work history, like your entire work history, so that you can pull out of that when you apply for a job, that job you had 4 jobs ago that matches what you want to do now, and make sure that you let them know that you've got the skills to do that. Here, look at this. I did this previously, this similar job. And then it's easier to cut and paste it if you've got it in a Word document or something. But you know what? If writing it down in a journal or on a recipe card or in a 3-ring binder, whatever works best for you. I like to write things down, and I don't go anywhere without my paper calendar. Can't do everything electronically. I just can't do that. I have to read it, I have to write it, I have to see it and be able to pull that information quickly. So whatever you choose to do to stay organized is great. Keeping copies of the resume that you sent for a particular job, because you're going to learn in some of these resume workshops that your resume is going to be different for every job that you apply for. You're going to want to focus on that one particular job for this one resume. Because you want to be able to tell them right from the very start that you are the best candidate for that position. And again, you are going to need a username and password for all of those different companies' websites that you sign on to. So if you save usernames and passwords, that's great. If you use a computer at the Career Force and you have to set up an account, just make sure that you write that stuff down so that you can easily get back onto that site to see, the status of the application process or what have you. So just getting organized. I know that when I got laid off and I knew I was going to have to start looking for work, I set up at my computer the pencils, pens, phone charger, computer, notebook, paper, all of those things right there. And I told my family, I said, do not touch anything in this space because I want to be able to retrieve that information as absolutely quick as I can. And having a cell phone charger handy and your phone charged all the time is great. And another thing, I made a note of this, make sure that I see this all the time, be sure that your email address is professional and appropriate. So I did not use my pretty grandma at yahoo.com when I was job searching. I used something a little more professional. And then I hear from people too that Indeed and maybe others are sending out all sorts of things by email that do not even apply to what kind of work you're looking for. And so if you set up a different account just for your job search, you can keep all that stuff separate from the how to cook a turkey for Thanksgiving email from grandma in your personal email account. So not a bad idea to do that. And the other thing is to make sure that your voicemail message is appropriate. And if you can put your name into when I'm calling, you have reached the phone number. But if you could put your name in there, that would be great, so that when employers give you a call back, they know they've got the right number. Even if you just say, "This is Rhonda, thanks for calling, leave a message." At least that employer knows that they got Rhonda's voicemail, and it's okay to leave a message. So just a couple of things that have come up recently that I wanted to be sure to share with you. And Sheila, I see you're busy in the chat, but if you want to go through these SMART goals with us, that would be terrific.
Yeah, thanks, Rhonda. So whenever I get a tool or a resource to use, it's always helpful if I have an example of how to use it. So in regards to SMART goals, the reason for a SMART goal is to help you balance your job search and keep you on track and keep you accountable for what you're trying to achieve. So our SMART goal, each letter, of course, stands for something. First, we have specific. What exactly is it that you want to achieve? And you want to make sure that you set a realistic goal so you can achieve your accomplishment. If it's not realistic, you may get discouraged and give up on it. So in this example, our goal is going to be to prepare a resume. And so then we want to be able to ensure we keep ourselves on track. So we need something that's going to measure how we are going to achieve our goal. So in this case, maybe you want to set some mini deadlines. Give yourself a timeline when you want to finish your resume. Maybe you want to tell a friend. I could say, "Hey, Rhonda, I want to have my resume done in 2 weeks." And then maybe you want to get some outside help and say you're going to have a rough draft ready in 10 days to present to a career counselor at CareerForce. So give yourself something to measure your progress by. And then achievable. What resources do you have to help you complete your goal? CareerForce offers our resume workshops. Some are online, some are in person. That would certainly be a great resource to use. You can sign up for a one-on-one resume review. Some of those skill assessments and tools that Rhonda talked about, that's a great way to get skills that you can present on your resume, show examples how you've used those. And of course, then your job history and job descriptions are a great way to get information. Another thing I like to use when helping individuals with resumes is letter of recommendations and performance reviews. Those are great resources that show another person's perspective of your skills and how you functioned on the job. You know, what were your outcomes? And then relevant. Why is this goal important? Why do you need a resume in your job search? So in this case, with the digital world we live in, a lot of companies have online applications where they want you to upload your resume to their online application or email it to them. So having a well-written resume ready to go can ease some of that stress of your job search, and it gives you a good basis to target your resumes to jobs as they come up. You may have more than one resume because you probably have more talents and skills to offer than in just one specific occupation. For example, I have a background in business and in teaching, so I have 2 separate resumes to target those careers. And then timely, when are you going to complete this goal? That's when you want to have a specific date, you know, to give to that friend, or a date to meet with that career counselor. And then say maybe 2 days after you meet with that career counselor, you'll have your resume ready to go. So you've achieved your goal. And then just remember, it's okay to work on more than one goal at a time. You just want to make sure they're measurable and you can accomplish them, and try to prioritize your goals that are going to get you to where you need to be as soon as possible, returning to work. And we will be sending a SMART goal worksheet in the follow-up email. So that'll give you a guideline to follow if you're going to use SMART goals during your job search. Thanks, Rhonda.
Thank you, Sheila. So my usual goal is that I want to lose 20 pounds by Friday, and that's not going to work, so it's not achievable. It's relevant, certainly. It's measurable. I can see my progress, but it's not achievable, so I'm probably not going to do it. I'm probably going to go get hungry and have a cookie and call it a day. So it's really important that you do make sure that the things you set on your goal, SMART goal, is something you can actually get done. And maybe someday I will lose the 20 pounds, but not going to be by Friday, that's for sure. So thank you, Sheila, for that. Appreciate that. So here we go with researching. What should I research? So I already showed you some of those job sites that you can do research on different industries. You can find out sometimes if they're high in demand, you can find out a salary range, you can find out typical things that you would do at that job to find out if it's something that you can, in fact, do. And on a side note, going to those websites and cutting and pasting out of the jobs that you've done before can really help build your resume. You're kind of using their same jargon, if you will, to help build that resume. So I know that at my last job, I was busy for 8 or 9 or 10 hours a day, but how do I put that into 6 bullet points? So some of those job sites, job research sites can be helpful for that as well. So you have kind of decided the kind of job that you want to look for. So you want to study the company's products and services. So to say, is this the kind of industry that I want to work in? For me, I would never go work at a company that manufactures guns or ammunition or things like that, because I'm deathly afraid of guns. So I would not want to cross that threshold and go to work. So you want to be able to believe in what the company does in their products and their services. But a company that comes along and recycles plastic bottles, I'm all in. So that would be a company that I would be behind 100%. So think about that. What do they do? What's the company size? What's their history? Where are they located? You know, if you've got kids in daycare, do I want to live in Minnetonka and have daycare in Minnetonka and work in St. Paul? In rush hour, I'm over an hour away from my kids sometimes. So think about proximity, especially for you folks in the Twin Cities. That's what I used to do, live in Minnetonka and work in St. Paul. And I decided that wasn't gonna work for me. So found a job in Eden Prairie. It was easy peasy, and I was much happier. So if something happened to my kid at daycare, I was 5 minutes away. So keep those things in mind. Even folks in outstate Minnesota, do I want to drive 40 miles up to a job that's, you know, maybe in the winter the roads are not so good? Just keep that all in mind and what you're willing to do. Company size, do I want to work for a big company? Do I want to work for a small family shop that really makes a difference in my neighborhood? Think about those things. And obviously their financial situation. You don't want to have your paychecks bouncing and things like that. So you want to be sure that they're financially stable and that there is potential growth in the industry that you're getting into. Also look at their website and see what's their mission statement or what's their philosophy. I worked for a company in the Twin Cities where the philosophy from top down was we work 40 hours during the week to stay on par with the competition, come in and work on the weekend to get ahead. And I was an absolute peon in the Human Resources Department on a Saturday morning with my baby in a stroller, putting together new hire packets for Monday. That wasn't going to work for me in my next job. So think about those things. What are the expectations in that next job? Think about recent changes that they've made or initiatives. Maybe during the COVID, they had everybody work from home, and you have been working from home, and now they say everybody back in the office. You have to be in the office. Is that going to work for you? Or maybe they say a new initiative is to that you can work hybrid. Well, that's great. I can balance that out. I can make that work. What are the human resource policies? Maybe in the summertime, you can work 4 10-hour days and take Fridays off. Wow, that works for me. I mean, that's doable for sure. And you want Fridays off in the summer. So that's something it's not a financial benefit for you, but it's as your person, as your family, and as your well-being, it's nice to have Fridays off in the summer, I'm sure. Again, looking at that labor market information, this is all part of your research. Is it a job that I can get into and grow with a company? Is it on the incline, on the decline? What's the salary information? What are the benefits? Most people aren't working 40, 50, 60 hours a week as a hobby. We want to be sure that the salary works for you and your family. Maybe you need to get 2 jobs, but maybe one job there's room for advancement down the road. So is it worth it to take it at a lower salary if I can get a promotion maybe in 6 or 9 months? And what are the benefits? Thinking about that, healthcare, vacation, all those sorts of things. So think about all that good stuff. It all is part of your research on what to do next. So you can research, of course, on the company's websites. Bigger companies, of course, are going to have a decent website, no doubt. Smaller family-owned shops, maybe not so much, but that's okay. Looking at press releases, there still is a newspaper published. You can look at press releases or the business section in the newspaper in print or online. Checking with the librarians. Maybe they have a reference section for the manufacturing companies in your area that you can go through and get a list going of who you would like to talk to, because you can't find them online. They're small enough that they don't even have an online presence, maybe aside from a phone number. Again, going back to those career information websites, they're good information to help you fill in some of those gaps, let you know what your gaps might be and how to get that short-term training to get into that position. Informational interviews it's more of a conversation with an employer. Say you want to work in an industry, but you really don't know all that they do. You really don't know what the company culture is like. You really just want to talk to somebody at that company and find out what it would be like. So an informational interview with maybe human resources or a department manager, if you can figure out who that is, just to get in and maybe ask for 15 minutes. Can I just come in and talk to you, see your location, see what it would be like to work here and see what you do. 15 minutes, you can get a lot of information, maybe even a tour of the job site. Find out what does it take to get into a position with them. Don't take more than the 10 or 15 minutes you asked for. Obviously, if they offer more time and you're interested, bring it on. Let's get as much information as I can and find out if that's the kind of industry you want to get into, the kind of company you want to work for. Obviously, talking to people in your network, your people on LinkedIn, the people in your coffee club, the people at CareerForce, come in and talk to us. I get calls from employers all the time looking for people or wanting to come in and set up an employer of the day recruitment event or things like that. So be sure that you stay connected with your local CareerForce. Just a quick story, I think we've got a minute. I was doing a workshop much like this, and someone said, I am close to getting my civil engineering degree, and I really want to work in Duluth, but I don't know anybody. So I gave her the name of a company, human resources person that I knew, and I said, go down and just talk to them and see what it's like, see what kind of projects they're working on, see what's going on, take a chance and go down and talk to them. And she did, and she ended up getting a job there, and they paid to finish off her civil engineering degree, I believe, and it was certainly time well spent. But she went into it just trying to get some information about what is a civil engineer company in Duluth, Minnesota, what are your projects, what do you do? So it's not a job interview, it's information gathering, and which is what you want to be doing all the time when you're out talking to people. So another thing that you can do, and there may be some expense involved in this, but it could be minimal, having some sort of a networking card that you can hand to folks, because it's not often that you go, well, probably never, go to the grocery store or to a ball game, a hockey game with your resume in a folder in a, a nice and neat format. So this would be something that you could print up either at Vistaprint or at Office Max or a place like that, where you can get some business cards. Thank you, Sheila. She just put down a bunch of recommendations for business cards into the chat. So make a note of that. Again, you're not going to get the chat in the follow-up information, so take a look at those, copy and paste that out of that chat so you have that handy. But this would be something that you could hand to someone at the grocery store, because you know that they work at the local hospital, in the pharmacy, and you really want to be a pharmacy tech. Give them your card. Oftentimes you'll get a card back in return if they've got one, but this would be great so that Monday morning they can reach out to you and say, hey, it was great to see you in the produce department. Yeah, come on in for an interview, send your application, send me your resume. We really want to talk to you. So having that networking card handy is something that you can quick hand off to somebody when you're out and about around town. Here's just a quick sample of one. You want to make it all relevant, all related skills. You don't want to pigeonhole yourself into only one industry or one job, but it's your skills, your general great qualities and great transferable skills, maybe on the back of that card if you choose to print on the back. But just your contact information, your LinkedIn address, your address. You don't have to put in your full address. You can just put in the city and state where you live, your phone number, and that job seeker email address that you've set up. Go through and read it through once or twice or 3 times to make sure that everything is accurate, because you don't want to have 500 cards printed up and have the wrong phone number on it. That would be disappointing. So make sure that everything is accurate on it, and you can even go to Office Max and buy cardstock and go into CareerForce and print them yourself. You can use our printers anytime that you need. So just another thought, and you will be learning about work portfolios, I believe, in one of the upcoming creative job search workshops, but it's just something that you can bring to an interview to show your work samples, to show your welding skills because you built this great fence or whatever it was, or your writing samples, things like that. Obviously copies, so that if they ask, can we keep this, you've got your originals back at home. So you would want to, if you're in a position to do something like that. And there are online portfolios as well, that would be something that you would then put on your business card if you have an online portfolio. So thinking about this, you still haven't even applied for a single job yet, but you want to think about who would I use for a reference for this particular job, and think about this as for this particular job, because you may have 10 people that you want to use for references, but for this particular job, you want to let the employer know and talk to the people that can really speak well about how you would be a great candidate for that position, for that job that you're looking for. So pick and choose from your list of references who you'd want to use, people that can speak, smart about how you would be the best candidate for that position, and pick and choose who you would use. And then, of course, avoid references who may be controversial, because you don't know who is going to be looking at this on the other side. So if you do like guns and you want to go and apply for a position with Gander Outdoor, wait, they don't exist anymore. What are they called? If you want to go work at a shop where they sell guns, and you like guns, and you're a member of the National Rifle Association, and you have a local person that can speak well to your hunting abilities and to your safety record out in the field hunting, use that person. If for that particular job it makes sense to use that person. You know, so clergy, Planned Parenthood, political people, all those things that could be hot buttons in your area. So just be mindful of that. So use people that you used to work with, previous supervisors that would speak well about you. If you've been in school recently, maybe some of those instructors that you've had, maybe clients that you worked with, vendors that came into your workplace previously. All of those folks could be great references for you. Obviously, you want to ask their permission. There's nothing more awkward than getting a phone call from an employer and they're looking for a reference on your old friend Bill Smith. You didn't even know he was looking for a job. You have no idea what he's looking for. You know, so kind of a surprise. So you want to be sure that you ask permission. Find out where they're going to be. I mean, winter is setting in on us. Do they winter in Minnesota and use the landline here, or do they winter in Arizona and use a landline out there? And you want to be sure that you can reach them. So you've got the right current phone number that you can share with an employer. Yeah, so find that out, where they're going to be in the next few weeks, and be sure and let them know that you're going to use them for a reference. Send them a copy of your resume. Send them a copy of the job posting of the job you're looking for so that they can be prepared, maybe even with a story. Maybe coach them a little bit on what you think the expectations are at that job, and remind them about the time that you did that computer conversion and everything went so well because of your teamwork capabilities, things like that. Whatever you think for that particular job is going to be important for that employer to hear about for you. And then obviously thank them. People have more things to do than just be our reference, so thank them for their time, thank them for their willingness to be your reference. And then obviously if they help you get the job, thank them profusely for putting in a good word for you with that employer. And you know what, sometimes they can't even talk about what you did before. If you're calling a former employer, they can just maybe sometimes say that your job title, your start and end date, you know, things like that, very brief. But if someone can actually go outside the office doors and use their cell phone and talk about your qualities, that is a big deal. So it is 10:52, and we've gone through the entire PowerPoint presentation. So just in review, recovering from your job loss, giving yourself credit for your ups and downs, and recognizing those feelings, and just, you know, just be ready for a challenge every single day. You guys put great things in the chat box about how you get through your days. Think about those things. What's going to help you keep a good positive attitude? How do I do that? How do I turn myself around? And remember, you're good enough, you're smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like you. So tell yourself that every day. Figure out a game plan. How am I going to do this? How am I going to get and stay organized through this job search so that all that good information is handy for me when that employer calls to talk about the job? It was setting up those SMART goals, the ones that Sheila talked about, not the one that I talked about. Mine's not doable. Think about the SMART goals. How am I going to get from point A to point B on all these different things that I'm working on? Again, research, research, research. It's just powerful to know what an employer is doing. And even the day before you go in for an interview, look at their website and see what's maybe new about what's going on with them. Gosh, you guys just bought another company down in Farmington? That's awesome. I love the work that you do, and I'm so excited that you're growing and you're doing these sort of things. So showing that level of interest, I think is worth gold when you walk into an interview. And gathering up the tools that you're going to need. So your networking cards, your portfolios, your references, your pencils, pens, phone chargers, all those things that you need so that you are ready for everything that comes your way. And we do have a couple of minutes if there are questions. You are very welcome. I'm glad that you attended today, and I wish all of you the best of luck in your job search. Yes, and have a wonderful holiday weekend. Sheila, what you got going on?
Yeah, just a
You've
couple of
answered a ton
comments
of
and
questions.
questions. I did. I answered a lot of questions in there that were sent privately, but one that I want to just let everybody know, someone's asking how they can get their resume reviewed. And yes, you can call your local career force and schedule an appointment. And then also on the careerforcemn.com website, you can sign up for a one-on-one job search appointment and let them know at that time when they contact you that you want your resume reviewed. So that's a couple ways that you can set up an appointment to get your resume reviewed. And then
Absolutely.
Rhonda, what are your thoughts? Do you recommend that your resume be public on Indeed?
You know, I think that that is what a lot of folks are doing, and that's why they're getting all sorts of things sent to them. I think Indeed picks up one or two words off your resume and assumes you want to be an orthodontist because you used to be a dental assistant. You're getting things that don't apply to what you're looking for, which is why I've been recommending folks that are using services like that to get a different email address for those things so that all that stuff can go into a different address. But I would guess it would be helpful. People will see it and employers will see it and reach out to you. So a lot of people are using it.
Okay, and then is there a listing of job networking groups available? And I see someone posted, they can connect through Facebook, but any other ideas, Rhonda?
Did you post the careerforcemn.com/events? I think is what it's
I put
called.
the events in there, and I'm going to put the networking calendar in the follow-up email as well.
Oh,
I can
good,
put that
good,
in the chat right now too.
good. And the other things that are listed in that area are job fairs and employers of the day and things like that, that employers can also hop on and post things for themselves. If they're having an on-site hiring event at their location, they are more than welcome to post those things as well. So you're going to see a variety of things posted on that site. And you can narrow it down to metro or outstate as well. I think you can even put in a region where you're looking for information. But there's going to be a lot of things out there. And you know what? Job fairs are a great way to get out and expand your network and talk to employers and actually shake hands with hiring managers and things like that. With so much of this job search being electronic, getting out and talking to people is still a great way to land an opportunity.
And then just one other comment. Someone's just asking if people use online AI software for matching their resume to job descriptions to get the best match. Do you have any comments on AI, Rhonda, and how to use it, when to use it?
I have no comments on that, to be perfectly honest. I don't know enough about it, how it might work. And maybe that will be a new workshop that we have coming up, because it's out there. I mean, it's our future. So how folks are using it, I don't know.
They talk about AI a little bit in our resume workshops and then the social media LinkedIn workshop. There's some information on AI. And the CareerForce website has
tomorrow? Is that resume?
Tomorrow's interviewing.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a link on our website about AI too. I can include that in the follow-up email if that might be helpful too. Okay.
I do see one comment about age-related info. There is a job search over 50 workshop that comes up in the creative job search rotation. And a lot of these workshops are, I should have shown that on the online tools page of careerforceadmin.com. There are recorded workshops, so you don't have to wait for the job search over 50 workshop to roll around. You can, I believe, still go on and watch a previously recorded workshop. Is that still true, Sheila?
Yeah, and the link for the recorded workshops is in the follow-up email.
Okay.
Okay. And with that, I don't see any other questions. So thank you everybody for joining us today. Rhonda, any last words?
Well, I just wish you all the very best of luck and just really encourage you to connect with Career Force staff folks. Check out if we're out in the community. I know in the Duluth area, I go to Two Harbors once a month. I have a coworker that goes to the Duluth Library once a month. We go to the Cloquet Library once a month. I go to Community Action Duluth every other week. So look for us in those off-site events as well, if that would be more comfortable for you. But I just truly hope you connect with us one way or another, because we are all about helping you. So with that, thank you. Have a lovely holiday weekend, and best of luck to everyone. Thanks for coming.